put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, and welcome to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. It is Thursday, the 10th day of April 2025, and we're coming to you live from the Port Mall here in Scarborough, Tobago. I am Adana Kumbi. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it.
Good morning, and my name is Akinlabi Hola, and it's good to have you here with us on the Tobago Updates morning show. Adana, I know that there are a lot of persons up and excited today. Today is the big day for a lot of children and their parents.
That's right. Today, 1,006 students from Tobago will be sitting the SEA examination, and this morning, of course, we here at Tobago Updates Television, we want to wish you the very, very best. We do pray God's blessings upon your life, and we do hope, of course, that as you enter into that room this morning, you remain calm. Remember your affirmations. On Tuesday, we had a guest here talking to you about your affirmations, reminding you that you can do great things. Just focus on what you have to do. Take your time, read the questions properly, and do your best. And guess what? After all of it, there's ice cream, there's movies, so many fun things happening after the exam today. Yes. So just take your time, focus on what you have to do, and it shall be well. I will continue sending shout outs to you later on throughout the program, so we do hope that the parents can allow them to just see a little snippet before they head off to school this morning and settle in to do what they have to do. Akinlabi, I know when I didn't do SEA, I did common entrance. So, you know, I still not my age a little bit. I did common entrance, and it was really nerve-wracking, you know. It was nerve-wracking, and but for me, I did it. Actually, the day that I did common entrance, the day after was my birthday. So I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to do my best and I'll pass for the school I want to pass for. And tomorrow on my birthday, as if you're getting the results the next day, right? I would get a good birthday gift. But, you know, we want to wish all the students all the very best as they head on into that exam today. Yes. Right? But before we get into all our conversations this morning, of course, we head on over to the news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Adana. Here is your news in 90 seconds for Thursday, April 10th, 2025. Tobago House of Assembly Deputy Chief Secretary Dr. Faith Brebner has successfully challenged a search warrant issued for her home in connection with an alleged fraud probe. High Court Judge Frank Sipasad ruled that July 2023 warrant approved by Magistrate Registrar Jamil Watch was based on inaccurate police claims and lacked proper justification. Sipasad said officers wrongly alleged Brebner was unlawfully employed despite her being an elected official. The warrant was quashed, but no compensation was awarded. Brebner was never charged during the investigations. Up next, following the collapse of the Dragon Gas deal license, PDP political leader Watson Duke, in a social media post, urged the government to act swiftly and monetize the Calypso gas field off Speyside to boost national revenue. He highlighted the Calypso's gas field of comparable size and potential, calling it a viable alternative. Contesting the Tobago East seat, Duke also demanded fair treatment for Tobago's resources and advocated for the Studley Park Quarry to be licensed for exports to generate additional income. And finally, in a message from the Secretary of Education, Research and Technology, a total of 1,006 students, including 34 private candidates, will sit the C exams across 40 centers in Tobago. To support inclusivity, 29 special concessions were approved for the students with learning or medical needs. C personnel underwent training on April 3rd to ensure smooth standardized operations. Monitors, supervisors, and testers receive clear guidelines, including all cell phone bans. Exam scripts will be securely managed by DTEC's unit. The division extends best wishes to all candidates. And from the Tobago Updates family, best wishes to all C students today. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Bianna, for our news there in 90 seconds. And I know that you have a special SEA shout out this morning.
Yes.
And so I know a little lady's waiting on you. So, Bianna, take it away.
All right. To Miss Heidi Graham, my little friend from in Roxborough Anglican School, I wish you all the best this morning in your exams. I know that you would have prepared, Mommy and Daddy would have prepared you for these exams, as well as your teachers. So, all the best to you today.
All right, Heidi, I really do hope that you do your very best, all our students. Bianna, as you mentioned, 1,006 of our students here on the island of Tobago. And surprisingly, there are more boys than girls sitting the exam this year. I think 551 boys and 455 girls are sitting the exam today. And so the nation stands with you guys, and do your best, and then God will do the rest. God will do the rest for you. I feel a little bit nostalgic here. How do you guys what is your memory in terms of you sitting the common entrance exams, or even persons that your nieces, your cousins, people in your community sitting? What is the feeling like for you all?
Well, in my time, it was not secondary school for all. So, my mom was a drill sergeant where that was concerned that you have to pass this common entrance, right? So, my neighbor at that time was a primary school teacher, standard 5 teacher as well. So, Saturday evening, Sunday morning, whole time, drill right through.
Yes. It was the same for me leading up to the exams. Every day was an extra class. Every day was an extra class. Like the both of you all, it was not secondary school for all. Some persons used to fail and have to repeat and that kind of thing. So there was that sort of nervousness, but it was also a very exciting time for me. And I just want to take this opportunity to tell all the children sitting today that your value and the value of your life does not hinge on this one exam. There is life after this exam, and you have value after this exam, regardless of what the outcome is.
Yes. Right, good, strong words there from Akinlabi. You kind of raised my pause there. And you are right, because sometimes the amount of pressure that the parents, the community, the teachers, they put on the children. I know back in the day when we did it, it was either pass or fail. And there was that pressure because you have to pass, right? But the pressure is even on more now because you have to pass for a prestigious school. You must be the top ranking student. And so sometimes all of these awards, while you want to recognize the person who performs really well, it really puts a measure of pressure. I know some children have anxiety, they have all types of things, but we're really hoping that our children can go in there calmly, just bring to memory what they learn, do their best. And as Akinlabi said, your value is not hinged on the outcome of this exam.
True.
Right? So all the best to all of you from all of us here at Tobago Updates Television. We are rooting for you, and ice cream for all after the exam today. So all the best for you all. All right, thank you, Bianna, so much for joining us on set and bringing good cheer and best wishes to all of our SEA students. We hope that you have a wonderful day as well.
You too.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the morning where we celebrate with those who are celebrating. It's time for our birthday shout-outs. We start off the birthday shout-outs this morning, and we want to say happy birthday to a special lady. A special lady is celebrating a birthday today. Do you know who this lady is? I'm going to tell you. This lady, it's her big day, and she is the legendary Tobago Updates. What did Auntie Ria's eyes just see? And this is coming from Julian Skeeter. He's saying happy birthday to my... That's it. What did Ria just see? Do you remember this interview? For those of you who have been viewing the morning show on Tobago Updates Television from the very beginning, I want all our viewers to type in our comments on our Facebook and our YouTube live stream what this face is about. Ria, we say happy birthday to you. We pray God's blessings upon your life. We do hope that you're having a wonderful day so far. Breakfast in bed, and of course, the whole day will roll out with roses, flowers, chocolates, so many presents you wouldn't be able to finish unwrapping them today. And of course, we here at Tobago Updates Television, we send you all of our love. We do pray God's blessings upon your life, and as you enter this new season, this new chapter in your life, we pray God's blessings upon you as well. This is my Aries sister. Woohoo! Happy birthday to you, Ria Richardson George.
And we send out happy birthday wishes to Mr. Ian Wilson, looking very regal there, so in your African attire. We wish you happy birthday and God's richest blessings. We know that you're going to be surrounded with friends and family, and you're going to have a very bubbly celebrations today for your birthday. We wish you the best of luck and the best of blessings in your upcoming year. Happy birthday to you, sir.
And finally, we say happy birthday to Aisha Bacchus. Aisha Bacchus is also celebrating a birthday, and we say happy birthday to you, Aisha. We pray God's blessings upon your life, and we do hope that as you enter this new chapter of your life, you see the hand of God in ways that you've never seen it before. So happy birthday to you as well. Happy birthday to you. And of course, if you are celebrating a birthday or celebrating an anniversary or whatever celebration you are having, we here... Okay, there's another birthday. This is Dr. Remy.
That's right.
Dr. Remy, I call her Auntie Remy. Happy birthday to you. We pray God's blessings upon your life. Now, this is a woman, a hard-working woman, dedicated to the cause, always doing the thing that she thinks is right, of course, having a voice and speaking out. So happy birthday to you, Dr. Remy. Maria Dillon Remy is celebrating today, and of course, all of us at Tobago Updates Television, we join in the celebration with you, and we pray a special blessing upon your life, special grace for you to continue the work that you are doing, and we do hope that you have an amazing day today. And of course, if you are one of the celebrants, whether we have your photo or not, we join in the celebration with you, and we remind you to put God first, because He is the sole reason why there's even anything for you to celebrate. Right, so you might be wondering, who are we having conversations with this morning? Akinlabi, who are we speaking with this morning?
So this morning we continue the political conversations as we are in that season, and we're going to have on Mr. Ricardo Phillip of the Class Action Reform Movement. He's the political leader of the Class Action Reform Movement, and he's going to talk about his candidacy for the Tobago West seat. After that, we're going to have on Mrs. Tennille Devines Hill, who is the Communications and Marketing Manager of the Tobago Performing Arts Company, as well as Miss Megan Gill, Cultural Agent for the World Residences at Sea. And they are going to be talking about TPAC's historic performance on the World Residences at Sea. And finally, we're going to have on the Excel Entertainment Executive Member, Mr. Quincy Trim, and he's going to talk to us about Rum Bum.
Interesting lineup this morning, viewers. So we do hope that you can stay with us throughout the entire programming this morning. Remember, you can view us on our Facebook live stream, on our YouTube channel, or on AMPLIA 102 or Flow 121 or 130. So whether you are right here in Tobago, you are in Trinidad, the Caribbean region, the United States of America, Canada, England, all of Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, wherever you are, we welcome you this morning. We say thank you for making us your #1 choice for morning show here on the island of Tobago and keeping us at the top of the ratings. Of course, this is your opportunity to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Fusion. On April 20th, 2025, the parade grounds comes alive for a blend of genres, offering something for all ages and tastes at Fusion.
Heat me up. Only you alone could put fire back in the soul.
Experience a night of great music and unforgettable vibes. Dance to the music of Cast the Band. Cast the Band. Cast the Band.
Tell me dios, baby. Take back a dios, honey. Take back a dios, baby.
Stephen Marley, Gramps Morgan, Wayne Wonder, and many more. Get your physical tickets now. Tickets are also available online at islandetickets.com. Visit TobagoFestivalCommission.com for more info or call 639-4441. April 20th at Parade Grounds, Dwight York Stadium. Fusion, Tobago Rhythm and Soul Festival 2025. Feel the beat. Embrace the calm.
Welcome to the launch of Tobago Fashion Coda 7. We are so happy to be here.
The following is a paid political advertisement.
I've had the pleasure and privilege of building beautiful collaborative relationships with civil society organizations and with various faith-based organizations. And I'm asking you, if you've been on this journey with me, to continue this journey. And if you weren't on this journey with me before, I'm asking you to join the movement. There's a lot of work to be done in Trinidad and Tobago. We've started the work and have been doing meaningful work with you. And I'm asking for all of civil society, all of faith-based organizations to be all in with Team PNM. We have work to do. We have the ability to get it done, but we need you to join us on this movement. On election day, place your confidence and your vote in the team that has Trinidad and Tobago at heart and the team that's willing to work with all sectors to transform our society.
That was a paid political advertisement.
TNTech is pleased to advise that its Roxborough Service Center has reopened. Starting Monday, 10th March, customers can once more visit the Roxborough Administrative Building to pay TNTech bills, request new connections, and more. TNTech, powering the nation into the next generation.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. We begin conversations this morning by speaking with Mrs. Tenille Devines Hill, Communications and Marketing Manager of TPAC, and Miss Megan Gill, Cultural Agent for the World Residents at Sea. And we're talking about TPAC's historic performance. Now, when you hear TPAC, you're always looking forward to something of excellence, something out of the box, something out of the ordinary, and of course, something that is very inspiring to all of us here on the island of Tobago, whether you have some type of talent in the arts. So good morning, Tenille, and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for the warm welcome and for describing TPAC so well. Thank you for that.
Miss Gill, good morning and welcome also to you. And so we're talking we're talking about this groundbreaking performance of the TPAC. But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about the residents. Tell me about the vessel and what it does, and in terms of how did it find the shores of Tobago to attract what we have here on the island of Tobago.
Right, sure. I'll take that one. Thank you again for having me. So the World is a very unique ship. It is a residential yacht, so people do live on the ship as well. And it is a yacht that circumnavigates the globe. So they are constantly moving. They are constantly engaging with new cultures, from Canada to Antarctica to Australia and all around. So they did find their way to the shores of Tobago, and we're seeking a spectacular cultural showcase. And I think that they got just that.
Right, and that leads to my next question in terms of were your expectations met? Were they satisfied, or were they blown away by the performance of the TPAC?
Oh man, I think that the TPAC exceeded everyone's expectations. I think that the showcase was phenomenal. it was, and I will say this, the biggest showcase that the world has ever seen, the vessel had ever seen, as well as the fact that it was the only real theatrical showcase, and a showcase that included many aspects of the art. We had dance, we had music, we had a theatrical performance. So it was a unique one for the vessel indeed.
Right, right. And Tennille, you know, I want to bring you in here now on this part of the conversation in terms of how does it make you feel knowing or hearing these remarks, and of course being a part of TPAC in terms of their marketing manager and ensuring that they get the visibility and the representation for the island of Tobago. What are the how do you feel first and foremost, and what is the feedback coming from the team at TPAC?
Well, to be honest, I obviously feel very proud. It was a very special moment for not just the performers, but also those in the audience from the TPAC team. We even had the Tobago Tourism Agency there. And it was such a proud moment to see our performance, our culture being accepted so well. I must admit, I was a little nervous as well, because we know that there are difficulties, technical difficulties and challenges putting on a show of this nature. But boy, did TPAC live up to expectations. And I was a proud Tobagonian, but also a very proud member of TPAC that day.
Yeah. And you know, I know that TPAC, as I mentioned earlier, they go above and beyond in terms of, first of all, coming up with concepts for delivery. And Miss Gill, Tobago our culture is so rich and so diverse that sometimes to capture our culture in one performance is really difficult. So, but you know, to really put all the elements, I did not see the performance, but to put all the elements together, knowing what TPAC does, I could only imagine what the display was like there. So Tennille, in terms of preparation, getting the team together, coming up with the concept, the costumes, the scripts and whatever you had to pull together, what was that preparation like?
Well, first of all, we had to think of a concept that would be suitable for international audience. But because we are Tobagonians, we also took it as an opportunity to package our culture and everything that we're known for beyond the beaches we're talking about. So this particular initiative, we try to bring together everything from the Tobago harvest, Tobago carnival, the rainforest, the beaches, the people, the dance. We thought to ourselves, how do we package Tobago in something that can be consumed by international audiences where they could understand us and also appreciate our culture and want to come back. And again, we were successful. So the production was really about the 8 mystiques of Tobago. And this was a production that was written and directed by our very own multi-talented Rayshon Pear, the artistic director at TPAC. And as some of the feedback was about, they got to see everything in Tobago in one place. And as one resident of the ship said, that is why they came to Tobago, to learn about the culture, not just to see the pretty beaches and the pretty landscape. So the production process was about finding ways to package Tobago in one way, in a way that international audiences could understand, but also in a way that's still authentic to Tobago, so that we're still not losing the heart of what makes us Tobagonian.
And, you know, after, you know, that type of preparation and, you know, ensuring that the culture of Tobago is represented in that type of way, and now having to do this production aboard the yacht, Ms. Gill, in terms of the technical aspects of the production, what did it take to ensure that everything was available to support the delivery of this production that TPAC did aboard the vessel?
Right. Well, it was a heavy lift because it was such a big production, and we had to coordinate it remotely. So above all, we had to make sure that everyone was on the same page and that we understood things like the dimensions of the space, the specifics of the space, the width, the depth. And so all of this had to be communicated clearly. We had a number of video calls because I'm in Trinidad, TPAC is in Tobago, and we didn't get a chance to meet up until coming down right to the very end to the dress rehearsal. So a lot of it had to be done remotely. And we had to make sure that things were as clear as possible and as detailed, as scheduled as possible, so that when we reached to the ship on the day, we understood the assignment, and having the dress rehearsal really helped a lot. That would have been my only opportunity to see the performance and then give any suggestions or feedback necessary to tweak the different things that we needed. And I think that, I mean, TPAC is such a professional, just a splendid company to work with. The technical elements, it came together so smoothly. I could not have asked for a better collaborator than TPAC right now.
And it's so really, really cool to hear those types of reviews. And I'm wondering now, how was it received in terms of the team, the residents aboard the ship? Because you did mention it's a residential yacht. How did they respond to the performance, even the technical team, in terms of having to ensure that they prepared for having to do this remotely and then having to operate on the day? What was the response like where that was concerned?
Wow, well, it was a tremendous response. Like I said earlier, the technical team was more than happy to assist. The technical and the programming and enrichment team was more than happy to assist because they welcome these types of performances. Like I said, the ship has not had a performance like this in my time, but I think in ever. Right. And so they were so happy to just jump in and provide the support that we really needed. So I think we all felt held. Neil, I don't know if you could second that, but I think we all felt held by the technical team. From the residents' perspective, during the show, I'm looking around, looking at faces. The residents were immersed. The residents were totally immersed. We were seeing smiles. We were seeing the bits of suspense, confusion. The faces really showed that TPAC understood the assignment that they needed to fulfill here, And I was receiving emails during the show from the shoreside management team sending me photos of the event as it was happening in real time, saying how much the residents were appreciating the performance.
So Tennille, this question is for you in terms of, these reviews that we're getting based on the delivery of TPAC and performing on the vessel, the yacht. What does it mean in terms of partnerships moving forward, in terms of ensuring TPAC positions Tobago's culture on a global scale? How do you see yourself moving forward with this vision to ensure you have partnerships with other agencies across the globe to spotlight Tobago where our culture is concerned?
Well, that's actually what we're doing right now. So this is just the beginning of a new era, I would say, for TPAC. Because we were in the business, of course, of training residents, putting on local productions. But a huge part of our mandate is to also develop the creative economy and to export Tobago's culture. So this show, for example, was really establishing the fact that Tobago does have a strong cultural product, and we do have internationally ready productions, artists, and even technical teams on the island. So for us, right now, I won't give too much because I might come on another show and talk about it. But we're exploring a lot more opportunities right now in the US. We actually just had one of our music coordinators come back from St. Thomas, where, again, we're in the business of exporting the culture. And this would mean a heavy partnership with our sister agency, the Tobago Tourism Agency Limited, because I don't know if you know this, and Tobagonians should know this, but a huge part of our tourism product is local culture, people, and heritage. But the fact is, we must be able to translate this local culture in a way that international audiences could understand, appreciate, and doesn't put Tobago in a bad light. We still want to be authentic. So we're in the process of making even more partnerships. Right now, our CEO is in talks with some professionals in Las Vegas, and we're looking to also export an Odyssey inland to see if we could have more cruise ships and perhaps even hotels locally to show this production to international audiences. So TPAC is ready to take Tobago's culture international.
I feel really, really proud being a Tobagonian and, having had this opportunity, and not just having the opportunity, but executing it well. Because sometimes we get opportunities and, we don't really maximize. And I feel as if this was maximized. And in terms of ensuring partnerships are maintained and that the culture, as you mentioned before, Tennille, how authentic the culture is, not diluting the culture, but ensuring also international markets and audiences can understand and appreciate us, because Tobagonians are very unique. I have never met a people like the Tobago people.
sure.
We are complex, we are unique, we are loving, we are so many different things. And to be able to translate that to a global audience is really, really amazing.
And it's really an honor for us as well. I mean, we take that particular mantle very seriously because, again, we want to make Tobagonians proud while showing us to the world.
And you know, while we're talking about this show, the Odyssey that you performed on the yacht, when will we in Tobago, will this show be done on a Tobago stage for the audience of Tobago to enjoy as well?
You know we have to. So we're currently in talks because this is a show that's actually packaged for export. So it's really packaged to be an all-in-one show that can move from country to country if we need to carry it on a ship, if we need to carry it to a hotel. But of course, based on the feedback we've received, we are looking to have a staging in Tobago, but more importantly, overseas as well.
Right. I'm excited to see that Tobago staging. And before we go, Ms. Gill, I'd just like to ask, in terms of, I know you said the yacht, it moves from country to country, continent to continent, looking for cultural displays and trying to ensure that you provide a space for persons. In terms of the Caribbean region, are you staying in this region for now? And have you had any other performances from Caribbean regions? And of course, you know, I must ask, if you have to rank them and it's a Tobago performance, how would you position them?
Okay, well, I mean, in my past with the world, I actually was on board the vessel as the stage and broadcast manager. During my time, our stint was more from Canada down to Antarctica. So we didn't really touch too much of the Caribbean. Now, I know that the ship is still in motion, and I am not really privy to say where they will be next, but I do imagine that Tobago is high up on the list of not just places to visit, but performances to see.
Right. And of course, we will take that. We will take that, you know. One thing about Tobago people is that, and we always say this here on this show, we support our own. If you're going to run a race, if you're going to sing a song, if you're going to write a poem, if you're going to do a performance on a global stage, we root for each other here on the island of Tobago. Once you're representing us, you got all of our support.
But can I actually take a moment to thank for that support, because I'm happy you brought that up. Listen, the love has been felt. The support has been felt from the Division of Tourism to our sister companies. And I really actually want to take this opportunity, sorry to cut you off, to just say to our audiences, thank you for the support, for our staff. You are amazing. Continue doing what you're doing. And I want to leave a message that this was more than a performance. This was a moment of cultural diplomacy. So when you support TPAC, you're supporting the growth of Tobago's economy and, of course, the exports of our culture. So this is just the first step in one of the many international performances we hope to have. And thank you from Tobago Updates to the rest of Tobago for the support that we've felt and appreciate.
Of course, and indeed a pleasure, of course. And I wish we had so much more time to go through, because I really am excited to have conversations of this nature. And I look forward, of course, to future partnership with the Resident Yacht and also with other global agencies that will highlight and spotlight Tobago. And I wish both of you the very, very best as you continue in your mission to ensure cultures across the globe for you, Ms. Gail and Tennille, that the Tobago culture has that international stage as well. So all the best, and thank you guys so very much.
Thank you. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for more updates from TPAC as well, at Tobago Performing Arts. Thank you so much, everyone.
All right, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to go for a short break before we continue conversations this morning in studio. And as we go, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 gigabyte fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
The following is a paid political advertisement.
In the Savior's love. Oh, the anchor,
Tobago's autonomy is important to me because it will allow us to make better decisions, manage our own affairs, and determine our destiny. Well, all these things tie back into our own push for autonomy, the push for our right to determine. It also requires policy changes. So without a seat at the table, these policies will remain the same, and we will never get a fair share of what we actually deserve.
With hope and courage, 'cause God will be our guide. Expect the way.
I feel the hurt by this because I would have gone through this experience as a landowner. I know Tobagonians go through a lot when it comes to this because many a times it takes very long to get issues like these sorted out. So all these things require some policy change.
On April 28th, vote TPP.
That was a paid political advertisement.
You've heard a voice on the radio, seen her in your worship, and have sung her songs during your time of praise. Sinesh.
Everybody now, let's go.
Sinesh comes to Tobago for Melodies from Heaven on April 17th. The Shore Park Complex alights with praise and worship from 6 p.m. for Melodies from Heaven featuring Sinesh.
I shall not want. The Lord has provided.
Samuel Maydess.
You'll be the only one who's excited to call your name.
Positive.
Me never could have changed my mind.
Blessed Messenger.
Give blood of Jesus over your family.
Renee Fortune and many more.
From my head to my feet.
Get your physical tickets now. Tickets are also available online at islandetickets.com. Visit TobagoFestivalsCommission.com for more info or call 639-4441. April 17th at Shore Park Complex. Melodies from Heaven. Tobago Rhythm and Soul Festival 2025. Feel the beat. Embrace the calm.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to you, our viewers. We are here at the Tobago Updates studio for the Tobago Updates morning show, and we have on set with us Mr. Ricardo Phillip, the political leader of the Class Action Reform Movement. Good morning, Mr. Phillip.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, Tobago, Trinidad, and thank you for the opportunity for me to be here this morning.
All right,
Always appreciate it.
So, Mr. Phillip, let's get right into it, and let's talk about your candidacy for Tobago West. What can the voting population, the electorate, expect from Mr. Phillip for general elections 2025 for Tobago West?
Well, my campaign hasn't changed in the last couple of years. I've been consistent, preaching the same gospel. The question really is not what I'm going to do for you, but what you would have me do for you, as it's designed that way, the representation of the people. We have a culture and a history of, let me just say this, and I've said this on the ground and I'm saying this again. Nobody, no political party is going to save us. No new political philosophy is going to save us. No new political ideology is going to save us. My campaign and my party has always been and always stood for, we have to save ourselves as a nation. So my campaign has continued in that vein, that we have to save ourselves. We are accustomed with politicians coming on the ground and making all kinds of ungodly promises. And if we look back at our political history, we realize that has not worked. And I can't understand why, when we all know it has not worked, and we're still doing the same thing and expecting a different result, ultimately.
Well, Mr. Phillip, we have some burning issues. The Tobago electorate has some burning issues that they want addressed. And I just want to get an idea of what your position is or your positions are on those issues, such as constitutional reform, the THA bill coming forward, as well as a greater share in the national resources of the petrochemical resources that are within Tobago's waters. What are your positions on those sorts of issues?
And that's a very good question. When you are elected as a member of parliament and you get to the parliament, you don't go to the parliament to represent Tobago East or Tobago West, as the case may be. You go to the parliament to represent the nation of Trinidad and Tobago. The parliament responsibility and having the government come out of parliament is responsible for ensuring that all the different arms of the government, local government bodies, including the Tobago House of Assembly, is adequately funded and accountable to the people. So all those issues, and my campaign has always talked about constitutional reform, because as you say, we have a lot of national burning issues that we have to address. But when you have the parliamentary politics, or the parliaments and the government is competing with local arms of government, you have challenges. The Tobago House of Assembly should be one responsible for the day-to-day operation and day-to-day management of Tobago, and the larger issues, constitutional reform, as again dealing with the energy sector and so on, are the responsibility of the parliamentary representative. Like Trinidad, Tobago has to be included in all those discussions. All those issues has to be included. So I agree, I concur that Tobago we have to assert ourselves in this whole national debate on whatever the national issue may be. Tobago have to assert itself in that scenario. So when you have a representative from Tobago East and West going to Trinidad, it's not to necessarily just represent Tobago East or West, but to represent Tobago as part of the nation, and to ensure that Tobago is adequately funded, that's the THA and all the local arms of government, to carry out its function effectively and be accountable to the people. So that's my sum total of what a member of parliament represents for the people of Tobago. We continue to have the argument that if you send two people from the same party and they go there and fight for Tobago, there's no such thing. The Constitution does not allow for us to come and just fight for Tobago. When you go to Trinidad as a representative, you have to deal with issues that pertains to Trinidad as well. And therefore, you have to ensure that Tobago is equitably represented in the whole national debate and discussion and anything that is being offered available in the country.
Well, I guess that would have been a similar response to the question I was bringing up next, that persons may see you as an independent candidate, and they may see that voting for you may not bring the most benefit, might not be the most strategic decision, as you might be a lone soldier in the parliament fighting for Tobago or whatever Tobago needs. But I guess you would have responded in a similar way to a position like that.
Well, just to add that, I mean, it takes one man to start it, but it takes a whole nation to carry it. And let me start it. I have no problem with starting it. The issue here is that you're not supporting me. I have never come to the forefront and say, well, support me or vote for me or follow me. What I'm actually doing is trying to change mindset. And changing mindset is not an overnight thing. That doesn't happen in one election, two elections. And that's why I'm consistent, because I understand the challenge that we face. We have been indoctrinated with dependency and hopelessness for decades. And I don't expect one or two elections would change that as far as I'm concerned. So there was never a call to support me in any election campaign, vote for me. But let us build this nation in the right way. Let us transform this country. I can't do it alone. Alone can start it, but alone can't do it. Let us transform this country, and it takes all of us to do that. So if one wants to continue to vote for something that has not worked in the past, something that will never work now, then the choice is yours. But for me to say, all that I can say on this matter is that you're not supporting me. Let's all support ourselves, because as I said before, no political party is coming to save us. No new political philosophy or ideology is going to save us, but we have to save ourselves. And that's what I represent. I represent the notion that we are the only ones to save ourselves. God has given us all the tools that are necessary to work out our own salvation, and we need to take that seriously.
So then you can make the argument now that your primary goal is not necessarily to seek office, but to bring about a mindset change to the populace?
Well, it's twofold. I mean, you get into election campaign and the objective is you want to win your position. But I also believe strongly that you have to fix it from the outside. And one of the reasons why we struggle with the same thing over and over is because when you promise the people you're going to do good on their behalf and you get into the party politics, you have to toe the line. And therefore your individual desires, I've seen good people get destroyed by that kind of rationale, that you get into politics thinking that when you get in there, you're going to do good for the people, and then you have to follow that culture. You can't go against that culture. And that's why I've chosen to walk this path. It's a lonely path, it's a difficult path, but it's the right path. Because if you don't do that, then what we'll be doing, and as we do election after election, is just replacing one oppressor for the next. That's really what we're doing. It's just a perpetuation of the same thing, the same political philosophy and ideology that all the other parties are subscribed to come originally from the PNM and the UNC type of politics. And if you repeat that, I don't care what you call yourself, a new party, you call yourself PPO, PPA, it's going to be the same thing. So we have to change that. How do we solve the problem? We as a people have to start communicating with each other. Public referendums on all the important issues. The same constitutional reform. We have to, and not the government, another political party hosting that. Those are civil society responsibility. I've said this before. These are the areas that we need to go. Let's start having this discussion. The Tobago autonomy bill. You have to get the people involved with those type of discussion. They are the ones to carry the narrative. How do you represent the people when you have no idea what the people want?
Right.
That's the struggle we face.
So just to shift a little bit, in your observation of the day-to-day lives of the persons within the Tobago West constituency, what do you think are the most burning issues within the constituency that the people really want addressed?
People looking for leadership, and that is something that we have failed as a country, and not just in Trinidad but in Tobago. We had no leadership in the past, and everybody just surviving. Opportunities. My position is this: as government officials and politicians and what have you, your duty is to create the opportunities. I think Tobago is well ready. The people of Tobago is more than ready, whether it's in the east or the west, or what have you, is ready for opportunities. And the emphasis has to be developing Tobago in terms of economics and creating the opportunities. Government response is just to manage those areas, create the opportunities, and the people will shoot off on their own. You don't need to give up, a man a fish. You're going to teach them how to fish, as they were saying. If we do that, whether it's through the THA or the parliament, you will see the difference in Tobago. So the people in Tobago West have the same needs as people throughout Trinidad, I imagine. Employment issues, road issues, opportunities and so on. So that is what we need to fix. We need to create the opportunities and allow the people and the ambition to take control of that.
Okay, and you spoke about creating opportunities. Can you tell us some of the opportunities that you think that will be best suited for the residents of Tobago West, the constituents of Tobago West?
Well, Tobago in the whole, you see, it's difficult to and sort of selfish to divide Tobago in terms of east and west. And I think we have to put that in perspective, because from an election and a parliamentary perspective or point of view, you have Tobago east and west. But when you're talking about Tobago, you have to deal with Tobago as a whole, because as I said, if I'm elected, I can't go and just speak about Tobago West issues. If you're creating employment opportunity, you have to create an employment opportunity for Tobago in its entirety. So I'm saying here that, again, what the young people are concerned with: opportunities, job opportunities, career opportunities. People want to own homes. People want to be able to build their family and do business and pursue their ambition. Should be able to match the ambition of the young people. We have not done that. And so those are the issues that I would address. Those are important issues. If you want a shirt and a pants, that shouldn't be my problem. My problem is to give you the opportunity that you can pursue those things on your own. If you want to build a house, that should not be my problem. I'm supposed to give you the economic opportunity that you can pursue those things on your own. And that's how we build a nation, not by handout and help out. And that's the politics on the ground. They're on the ground right now promising people, making all kind of ungodly promises to people, only to realize after election they cannot fulfill. They know that they can't fulfill these promises.
So, Mr. Phillip, I don't want to ask you to create any promises, but I want to nail you down on some of your more specific positions on some of the burning issues. I want to revisit what we were talking before.
Sure.
THA reform, constitutional reform, and increased autonomy for the Tobago House of Assembly, and the burning issue of Tobagonians wanting a greater share in the oil and gas revenues that are considered in Tobago's waters. What are your specific perspectives and your policy positions on those sort of issues?
Right. So just let me just say, I think Tobago has not been equitably benefited from the relationship with Trinidad and Tobago. Having said that, you have to understand how the thing works. There is no such thing as Tobago oil and gas. There is no such thing. People talk these things politically and mislead people. It's a setup. The reality is that the resources of Trinidad and Tobago, or the resources of Tobago, belong to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and vice versa. That's the reality. Let's deal with the reality. If you want to talk about Tobago oil and gas in the future, then we can have that discussion based under some other umbrella. But for now, you cannot talk about more share in the oil and gas and so on. It doesn't work like that. When the resources is pooled together, that's the reality, and that's what we have to work with. When the resources pool together, they say we're giving the Tobago House of Assembly $4 billion, or you want to negotiate for more, or let's negotiate for more, the case may be. That is what you have to work with. The other option for economic development in Tobago is that when you get this money from the central government, because I don't think that reliance on that money there is adequate to help develop Tobago. You have to now help develop your private sector. That's what you're going to emphasize. So when you talk, we cannot have the discussion. As much as it sounds as something that's significant and important and intelligent, we cannot have the discussion about Tobago oil and gas because there's no such thing. It doesn't exist. And let's deal with that. The truth is, when you are sincere and honest with the people, you liberate them from the kind of slave thinking that for some reason, Tobago could go to Trinidad and say, here, we want more money from the oil and the gas. Well, we want more revenue, yes, for Tobago. And that's what we have, the channel we have to go to ensure that we get that. Not from oil and gas. The autonomy, the constitutional arrangement for Tobago does not allow for us to debate or to have a discussion based on whether the new act or the past act to debate autonomy for Tobago. There's no plenipotentiary powers that Tobago has at this point in time. Tobago is under a constitution that is governed by Trinidad and Tobago. So it's a local arm of government. That's what the Tobago House of Assembly in this current state. I don't care what you do, how they improve it and how they give you more authority and so on. It's not an autonomy discussion. It's not an autonomy bill.
So what is the discussion really about?
The discussion really is about more power. It's a power struggle between, Trinidad and Tobago. It's a power struggle and the people have gotten caught up in that. As a matter of fact, in some instances, people don't even understand what's taking place with that.
But some people argue that more power equals more autonomy.
No, more power doesn't necessarily. More power could also interpret as more abuse. We have to deal with those issues. More power could also be interpreted as more abuse. If you want to talk about more power for Tobago, then you have to talk about more protection and guarantees for the people. Powers come with protection and guarantee, constitutional protection and guarantee when you talk about more power. So don't come and tell me, give me more power because I'm a patriotic Tobagonian and I want to do better for Tobago. Then you don't have those checks and balances in place.
All right, Mr. Phillip, we want to thank you very much for coming on with us and sharing your political views, and we wish you all the best in your campaign.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, then.
Nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a brief break, and we will come right back, and we'll have one executive member of DXL Entertainment, Quincy, and he's going to be talking about Rumbum. But before we go for the break, do us a favor, share the live, share the live, share the live. We will be right back after these brief messages.
It's the premier red carpet extravaganza. Tobago Fashion Cuda is back with a bang, bringing with it quintessential style where runway meets rhythm. Come see the icons of Caribbean couture, showcasing the trailblazing fashions of Trinidad and Tobago. Tobago Fashion Cuda 7 promises an unforgettable experience on the 18th of April 2025 at Magdalena Grand Beach and Golf Resort, a premium all-inclusive fashion soiree where runway meets rhythm.
The following is a paid political advertisement.
Tobago West, I am ready to be that second in command. I am ready to lift the anchor and sail directly to Port of Spain, not to blend in, but to speak out, not to follow, but to lead. I am Joel Notsi Sampson. I have served you. I have delivered for you. And now I am ready to represent you.
On April 28th, vote TPP.
That was a paid political advertisement.
Yeah! Tobago, get ready. Stephen Marley is on his way.
From jungle to Rima, me. Tifa little matches, you.
The Rhythm and Soul Festival introduces the son of the legend, the one and only Stephen Marley. Experience the Marley Dynasty live at the Dwight York Stadium at Fusion, Easter Sunday, April 20th. The Kings reunite on one stage. Stephen Marley. Gramps Morgan.
Have I shown you?
Wayne Wonder.
Somebody, she is a beauty.
Catch the Band, and many more.
This song she coming home, I will see you again.
Tickets are going fast. Follow Tobago Festivals on Facebook and Instagram. Or call 639-4441 for more info. Fusion, April 20th at Parade Grounds, Dwight York Stadium. The Tobago Rhythm and Soul Festival. Feel the beat. Embrace the calm.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place.
Welcome back to our viewers to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. Before we get into the interview, we want to go to our photo of the day. Yes, and the photo of the day will be coming up right now. The photo of the day, can you tell us where this photo came from? This photo was submitted by Mr. Rashid Zihar. Was submitted by Mr. Rashid Zihar, and at the end of the programming you could tell us where this photo came from. We'll reveal the answer at the end of the show, but give us your answers in our Facebook and YouTube live chats. All right, so we're getting into the interview now, and we have on set with us Mr. Quincy Trim, executive member of DXL Entertainment, and he's here to talk about Rum Bum coming up this Easter weekend. Good morning, Mr. Trim.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm quite fine. And I know DXL has been in this space for quite some time, a couple of years, and is a well-established brand in the entertainment space. So just tell us about what is Rum Bum and what people could expect from Rum Bum.
So yes, DXL Promotions has been in existence since 2017. This is our 8th year, and a very special year for us. Rum Bum, the name is a little bit misleading, but
right.
Rum Bum is really our take on a drinks inclusive, trying to take you on a, I won't say an alcoholic journey, but definitely a journey of consumption of beverages. Rum Bum, this year we changed our venue from the Buku Historical Park to 4 Acres Villa in Bon Accord. But you can expect the aesthetics to be on 100, the stage design to be on 100, and the cocktails and our amenities to be on 100. So really just putting our take on what we think a drinks inclusive should be by having a lot of very signature cocktails, very aesthetically pleasing cocktails, as well as different forms of alcohol in different forms.
No, I know this is not the first year of Rum Bum. You just tell us what inspired you to start Rum Bum in the very first year. I know you all have a strong following as well, and what has the feedback been over the years by those who participate in the event?
So Rum Bum was actually created out of COVID. Before Rum Bum, before 2020, we actually used to do food inclusives.
Right.
And we sat down in 2021 just before the opening of the entertainment industry, and we decided that we'll give a try at our drinks inclusive. Rum Bum was created really to be a beach party, but we saw a gap in the entertainment sphere over the Easter weekend, with Hush not being the marquee event anymore, and we saw that there was a need for some event where persons can dress up and really feel the Easter spirit, because historically in Tobago, Easter weekend is a dress-up weekend. Everybody knows that. Our culture is to dress up on the Easter weekend, and Rum Bum provides that avenue for them to dress up.
Okay, and in terms of the elements, do you have special entertainers? Give us the cast of DJs, that kind of thing.
So this year we have a special guest artist. I won't name the person, but definitely you all could look forward to that artist. DJs, we have a few DJs from Trinidad. One of the headliners is Elon, aka Papi. We also have Starbright and Echo. We have Chucky Ray-Ban. We have local DJs like 3D, Snoopy, All-Star Aaron. We have a fully loaded cast, but I think the beauty in Rum Bum is the aesthetics of the event. So this year we are taking a trip to the Pyramid of Giza. As I said, this is our 8th year, so we really want to take you all on a journey. And the journey really is to take you all to 7 different points in the world. So this year we're actually doing 7 events to mirror those trips. Yeah, Rambam 2025, sorry.
Right. Now, I know that DXL does a lot of stuff. Apart from Rambam, what could people expect from DXL, in the coming year, in 2025?
So this weekend, actually, we have a cricket tournament. We are going to be participating in Nazis Fast 5.
Okay.
We have successfully won Nazis Fast 5 for the last 3 years, our DXL Spartans. We also just finished sponsoring the Tobago under-19 cricket team. Besides that, we have, well, right after Rambam, our first, I guess, marquee event or marquee promotion is really the scholarships, the 2 scholarships we give to the Bonacourt Primary School. After that, you can look forward to our event after summer, August the 2nd. We're trying to go a little bigger and better this year in terms of Chapter Summer. Really excited about that one. And then we have our Charity Olympics in December. And along the way, as I said, we have 7 stops to make to visit the 7 wonders of the world. So we'll have a lot of spot-up and pop-up events throughout the year.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for being with us, Mr. Trim. But before you go, just tell us, look at the camera, look into the camera and give them the information, how much for the tickets, location again, where they could get the tickets, that kind of thing.
So Rambam 2025 at 4 Acres Villas. Right now you could get tickets, a special ticket bundle at Digicel Shirvan for $250. You could get a Rambam ticket as well as a free weekend plan. You could also get tickets at Hysteria Dutch Fort, exclusive boutique in Canaan, via the page at the XL Promotions and also via any committee member.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Quincy Trim, for that. Coming up on the 18th of April, Rambam. So get your tickets. It's promised to be an exciting affair. We're going for a short break, and when we come back, we will talk with Miss Vanetta Watkins, and she'll be talking about Fashion Quarter 7. But before we go, do us a favor, share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back after these messages.
Fusion. On April 20th, 2025, the parade grounds comes alive for a blend of genres, offering something for all ages and tastes at Fusion.
Heat me up. Only you alone could put fire back in the soul.
Experience a night of great music and unforgettable vibes. Dance to the music of Kess the Band. Kess the Band. Kess the Band.
Tell me dios, baby. Take back a dios, honey. Take back a dios, baby.
Stephen Marley, Gramps Morgan, Wayne Wonder, and many more. Get your physical tickets now. Tickets are also available online at islandetickets.com. Visit TobagoFestivalsCommission.com for more info or call 639-4441. April 20th at Parade Grounds, Dwight York Stadium. Fusion, Tobago Rhythm and Soul Festival 2025. Feel the beat. Embrace the calm.
The following is a paid political advertisement.
Walk towards achieving greater autonomy. That is the number one issue for me. Let us establish boundaries. If you have 2 sons and you call them and said, look, this field of real estate is for you all, you would not have to prompt them into getting a surveyor to establish boundaries. Once you establish boundaries, it means that you have created an environment where both persons would value each other equally. If you create, you manufacture, you innovate, it means that you'll be doing a whole lot of things for yourself. And therefore, you can determine the rate of your wealth, the rate of your success, the rate of your development.
On April 28th, vote TPP.
That was a paid political advertisement.
TNTech is pleased to advise that its Roxborough Service Center has reopened. Starting Monday, 10th March, customers can once more visit the Roxborough Administrative Building to pay TNTech bills, request new connections, and more. TNTech, powering the nation into the next generation.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. I am Adana Kambi. Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue conversations this morning and we shift gears a little bit. I will be speaking with Miss Vanetta Watkins, an artisan who will be present at the Tobago Fashion Coda. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me this morning.
Of course, a pleasure having you here. And of course, we're talking Fashion Coda, and you are going to be there as an artisan. So tell us, what is your involvement in the event and what we can look forward to you being there?
So my name is V. Everyone knows me as V. From my business is House of Crochet.tt by V. You will find my work on TikTok, Instagram, and on TikTok. I have 2 locations where you can conveniently pick up any one of my pieces, which is at the Coliseum, right next door to the Coliseum in Crown Point Main Road. Also at Porsche Collections, Grand Bazaar, you can pick up any one of my pieces, right? So I specialize in handmade crochet items. You're going to see my lovely pieces in a little bit. So for just about any event, you have a pool event, a boat ride, a carnival event, anything, you just, hit me up and I'm going to create that beautiful design.
So what type of pieces do you create or have you created in the past?
I did a wedding dress for a lady before.
A wedding dress?
A wedding dress. But she had a beach wedding, so that wasn't extensive to say, well, that was a lot of work. So I did a wedding dress, I did pieces for persons, as I said, for carnival events, for shoots, model shoots, just about anything. I also did some work with Red Runway just about 4 years ago. That was a fashion show in Trinidad.
All right, and in terms of crocheting, because crochet is an art, what is the industry like in terms of ensuring that you can secure clients and repeat clients, return clients, or even referral clients, and also booking engagements at events like Fashion Coda?
Yeah. So the crochet industry in Trinidad is actually getting very big. We have a lot of talented persons out there doing a lot of excellent work. It is up to the individual to really push their work and to market themselves so that people will see, the type of quality what we are pushing. Yeah, so for me, I do a lot of marketing, especially on the TikToks. And the work is coming in. It's coming in fine, especially around, Tobago is very seasonal. So carnival time, we're going to have a rush. July, August, there's a rush coming in, and Easter, of course. Yeah.
And I'm seeing some of you, if you look on the screen, you will see some of the pieces. Well, our one piece here. Oh, there we go. Pieces done by Miss V, Miss Vanetta. Crochet. And it's so diverse, as you mentioned, that crochet is actually blowing up in Trinidad and Tobago. And people, I know a long time, you used to think that crochet is just for your chair backs or your armrest. But now, crochet is fashionable. I mean, look at this orange piece. This is really, really beautiful. And you can really design, you can have so many different designs in terms of crochet. What got you into liking and starting and even designing outfits in crochet?
Well, I started crocheting at 9, but that, as you said, back in the days was just chair backs and stuff like that. But my daughter actually started the business during COVID. School was closed. She was only 15 years old. And she's like, Mommy, I'm going to start this business. And she started it. She started on Instagram and she started to show me how to do the little underwears and the bras. And I just kicked off after that. Because she got relaxed and she didn't want to do it too much as a business. But then I stepped forward. I said, girl, this have a lot of potential for a business. So I went forward with it.
And you have a steady and solid clientele in terms of the demand.
I have my returning folks that will always, when they have stuff coming up, they message me or call me in advance. Miss V, I need this or Miss V, I need that.
So what specific types of pieces will we be seeing at the Fashion Coda?
Fashion Coda got a nice mixture of elegance. I have some nice flowing dresses. You'll also get beach type wear. Yeah, that's mainly what I have so far. I didn't really prepare much in advance to see the things that I would have liked to put out this year. But God's willing, next year I'm going to have, some really, really, beautifully designed dresses and
All
other
right.
items.
So, and you're excited, of course, about the
course I
events
am.
taking place.
I am. Yes, I am.
Right. We do, of course, wish you the very best as you continue to, produce unique pieces using crochet. And we do hope that the event brings more clients for you
Thank
and
you
more
so much.
recognition where your art form is concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for staying with us this morning as we went through discussions right here on the morning show on Tobago Updates Television. But before we go, did you guess the photo of the day? Did you guess the photo of the day? The photo of the day this morning was submitted by Rashid Zaire. And do you know where this photo was taken? This photo was taken in Speyside, Tobago. Yes, did you guess it? We're hoping that you did, that you were able to guess it. We must say, of course, thank you so much for staying with us throughout the entire morning show. This is where we have to end the morning show, but of course it's not where we end our program, and we head on over to GMT with Candice Jackson. So stay with us, and as you stay, we invite you to help us share the live.
So today, as we converge here at the Victor E. Bruce Financial Complex to culminate the commemoration of Global Money Week through our Smart Sense Video Challenge prize-giving ceremony, we recognize the importance of financial literacy in shaping a secure and successful future.
I feel heartened, excited, and I'm indeed happy. Because when I looked at the goal of Global Money Week, the goal really is to ensure that all children and young people have access to high quality financial information and education that allows them to make smart financial decisions that can improve their future financial resilience and financial well-being. Today, I'm also heartened to see the students that are represented here today, that we are able to hone the skills that you have embedded inside of you. And from what I've heard, I'm indeed proud, and I feel a sense of accomplishment that with financial literacy and the mandate that we have here in the division, that we are able to bear this kind of fruit and see these kinds of results.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
In Tobago, Trinidad, and the region, with the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine. I am Candice Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds for Thursday, 10th April 2025. THA Deputy Chief Secretary Dr. Faith Brabner has successfully challenged a search warrant issued for her home in connection with the alleged fraud probe.
High Court Judge Frank Sipasad ruled that the July 2023 warrant approved by Justice of the Peace Jamil Watch was based on inaccurate police claims and lacked proper justification. Sipasad said officers wrongly alleged Bremner was unlawfully employed despite her being an elected official. The warrant was quashed, but no compensation was awarded. Bremner was never charged during the investigation. Following the collapse of the Dragon Gas deal license, PDP political leader Watson Duke, in a social media post, urged the government to act swiftly and monetize the Calypso gas fields off Speyside to boost national revenue. He said the Calypso's gas fields is of comparable size and potential, calling it a viable alternative. As a contestant for the Tobago East seat, Duke also demanded fair treatment for Tobago's resources and advocated for the Stolly Park quarry to be licensed for exports to generate additional income and forex. And finally, in a message from the Secretary of Education, Research and Technology, Zorisha Hackett, a total of 1,006 students, including 34 private candidates, will sit the SEA exams across 40 centers in Tobago. To support inclusivity, 29 special concessions were approved for students with learning or medical needs. SEA personnel underwent training on April 3, 2025 to ensure smooth standardized operations. Monitors, supervisors, and testers received clear guidelines, including all cell phone bans. Exam scripts will be securely managed by the tech units. The division extends its best wishes to all candidates, and certainly we too at Tobago Updates. All right, so that was our news in 90 seconds. And viewers, we got a lot to get into for our conversations this morning. So first of all, joining me on set is none other than Mr. Curtis Douglas, who is the Tobago West candidate for the PDP. But today we're not really speaking so much about his candidacy, but we're actually speaking about something he was involved in a little earlier this week, and that is the meeting with Sanders. Mr. Douglas, who's also the president of the All Tobago Fisherfolk Association, was present at that meeting. So we're going to get into some of the details as to what unfolded. We heard a little bit from the Prime Minister, a little bit from the Chief Secretary, but we're going to get some more. So, Mr. Douglas, good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning to the entire island, to all the viewers. Good morning to you all. And I would just like to say, to everyone that is sitting the exam today, all those kids, our future ministers and prime ministers, don't be scared, just go with God and just do your best. Do your best. It's just a start. It's not the end of the world. But, all my best wishes to each and every one of them.
Certainly. All right, so getting into it. So you and Mr. Duke went into the meeting together as well. Are you also wearing the hat as president of the All Tobago Fisherfolk Association? How did you feel coming out of that meeting?
Well, basically that meeting was really to introduce or have a conversation with Sanders to make sure that there are potential, business opportunity for Tobago, but also that set the tone also not only for Sanders, but for also anyone who wants to invest in our island called Tobago. But during that meeting, we would have pointed out 3 fundamental things that we needed, right? Because I could see their interest in Tobago, because Tobago is in a key strategical area of the Caribbean, which they would like to invest in. So we understood all of that going into the meeting. And while the meeting, we had a pre-meeting before. So we had a meeting with the Prime Minister, Mr. Duke, and I think President was also the Chief Secretary and other stakeholder members. But what we was very adamant about, and me as a president of All Tobago Fisherfolk, and also as a candidate for Tobago West, was very serious about, and I make no apologies and I make no excuses, right? And I would not bow down to anyone that believes that they have something that we want more than them. They want what we have. And we made it very clear so that they understand, so that the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago understand being a Trinidadian, and the people in the group who sat at the meeting understood our fundamental values for Tobago. And it is three major values we determine should happen. And basically one, if we are to engage again with Sanders to create a development for Tobago, all right? One, Tobago must win. Two, the THA must win. And three, Sanders must win, right? And a major investment like that should also be paid into a trust fund for people in Tobago, right? So that trust fund could help build the communities and make contributions to different programs for the island, right? So in all, everybody will be in a win-win situation. Unlike just, like the Chief Secretary just saying, Tobago is open for business. Even though Tobago is open for business, we must have some criteria, what type of business we are open for, and what are we allowing into our island. Because by the end of the day, I believe that the people are the key factor in this. And for years, we've been seeing hotels billing, people investing, and the people is not benefiting. For example, Candice, if you come to do some form of investment here, after you work over a certain period within the hotel or the tourism industry, when you go home, you must have a pension. I tirelessly see people work, some of my cousins and them work tirelessly through, and when they reach 60, they send them home without anything. And that is not fair. While that is happening, all of these people who invest money is going on with all the profit. So there's no way the people of the island is benefiting their families. So these are things that we need to look at going into any discussion or making any form of arrangement with any organization, whether it be Sanders or anyone that intend to invest in Tobago.
And coming out of that meeting, so we heard the intention that Sanders would go back. They would come up with their own proposal, having received the approval from everybody that was in the room that, yes, they are willing to hear Sanders out again. They're willing to consider another investment. So are you confident now that this time around, there will be that greater level of collaboration and there will be more transparency in how Sanders decides to do their investment in Tobago?
Well, the first step Sanders did was to They learn from their mistakes. They learn from the last mistakes, right? Mm-hmm. So what they would have done, they would have invited the right set of stakeholders, right? And that is the right path. But in discussion, we know there's an election coming up. So obviously, they have to invite the right set of stakeholders again to have the right discussion for Tobago, for Sanders, and for THA. Mm-hmm. So we all must be able to benefit. It doesn't matter who it are, because I know probably in the next couple of weeks, after everything is said and done, Stuart Young more than likely would not be the Prime Minister. So Mr. Duke may be the Prime Minister, quite clearly. So we now have somebody also with the interests of Tobago, because this is a Tobago affair. Make no mistake, this concerns Tobago. And we welcome, as we said, any business that honor these three fundamental values that we have in Tobago. Because Tobago people must benefit, just like all the people in Dubai benefit from the oil revenues, Tobagonians must be able to benefit. You can't tell me you work 40 years or 35 years in an organization, and when time to go home, you can't even get a retirement, you can't get a pension. That must be set up. And when that is set up, you will have what you call dedicated workers, because you know you will take pride in your job, and you know after this happens, you will be able to be taken care of. Instead of you get sent home and you don't know what to do, you are dependent on your grandchildren. So it is very important what Mr. Duke is saying as well, that the Tobago people must win. The THA must win, and also Sanders must win, because when you're spending money, you have to have some kind of return, right? But we all must share in that return, and the people must benefit, quite confidently. And I would not sit down in a room, right, where Tobago is not benefiting. So once Tobago people are benefiting, we are all in. If they are not, they need to take their business elsewhere.
So, and do you think that Tobago people is going to benefit from this new approach?
Well, so far, what we would have gotten from the head of Sanders is that, you know, he's showing the eagerness that he's willing to do business with the people of Tobago. And I think the three fundamental bases in which we intend to operate on, he seems to understand and agree. And once they agree to that, Candice, we has no problem, right? Because Tobago people must be free. Mm-hmm. And we also must be free financially. So anything we do, we must be able to benefit as a people.
Now, there was a presentation that was also made to you all. And from that presentation, how do you see Tobago benefiting? What potential do you see for Tobago from what was spoken about?
Well, the thing is, what they proclaim, I don't know what the data or how they get the data, is that once they agreed, or we agree, because I will be part of that decision making and I will be part of that discussion, based not only as the president of Fisher-Folk, but also as the MP for Tobago West. I have no apologies about that. I will be there to ensure that Tobago people benefit. Now, when Sanders send their presentation, it has revenue for the agriculture sector to grow, the fishing sector to go, the transportation sector to go, the airlift to go. And what they are saying based on their data, once they start operation in Tobago, other organizations will come, because they seem to say they are a magnet to draw other establishment to come to set up with there. So we have no problem with that. We have no problem with that. But in terms of what I'm saying, Tobago plays a very critical role in the entire outlay of the Sanders structure in the Caribbean.
Explain that one a little bit.
So they have in Barbados, St. Vincent, but our location, our destination seems to me to be a very key one. Tobago seems to play a very, like this is a jewel of the Caribbean. That is what I'm getting. That is the response I'm getting from Sanders. That they need to invest in Tobago. Because he said, even though we turn him down, if the conversation doesn't go the way it should go, he still wants to come to Tobago. Still will be coming to Tobago. You dig?
There's some very interesting comments coming out of that meeting. Now, also, I know as part of that meeting, there was, before you all met with the team from Sandals, there was a discussion with the Prime Minister about the development of Tobago tourism-wise. And I know, the discussion wasn't just about Sandals. It also involved Marriott. The idea of having more boutique-style hotels here in Tobago was also discussed. The idea of bringing more foreign direct investment to facilitate that development of the accommodation sector in that way. Well, how do you feel about what was said in regards to that?
No, as I said, the discussion that we had was a discussion of futuristic discussion, right? So nothing is really settled upon, but the discussion allude to not only people like Sanders making money, because Sanders is an all-inclusive organization, but in the terms of boutiques and guest houses and them, because we have a lot of backpackers still come to our destination, and it also creates even more revenue for those backpackers and people with their local businesses. So what was discussed was people selling sugar cake and fudge and stuff like that. And Mr. Watson Juku is the leader of the PDP, so clearly said, if you are a fudge maker, you must be the best fudge maker. So Tobago will also carry that brand. So when you come to Tobago, understand, you come to all-inclusive, and then we have those that are pays, and we have the guest houses, and we have the backpackers. So it's a whole corporation of industry comes together to help boost our tourism industry, because we all already know that the tourism industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. But more emphasis and effort must be put into it. So this conversation ignite that. So it is quite promising, as I said, but the real discussion and the real decision maker will be made after the 28th, and when the PDP wins. When the PDP wins, Mr. Watson Duke in the east and Mr. Curtis Douglas in the west. So then you have two people who will be able to stand up for Tobago and to ensure that Tobago doesn't come second, doesn't come third, but come first in everything, especially to do on this little island called Tobago.
And with that in mind, give me an idea of how do you view tourism? How do you view the development of tourism in Tobago, especially taking into concern the nature of the way people like to come to Tobago? They love the fact that when you talk to a lot of visitors, they love to interact with the local people and to be part of the Tobago way of life. So how do you see all of that fitting in to the PDP's vision for tourism here in Tobago?
Well, the PDP vision is strong on tourism and self-growth and development. So what we have what we call something called an incubator, right? So that is for small businesses. So in an incubator, we have small businesses who selling fudge, sugar cake, chicken, fish, whatever. So in that incubator, we will work with them over the years. We would not just give them a grant and tell them go with it and leave them like that. So that when a tourist come, when you won't only receive the product itself, the raw product, you receive a part of Tobago, which is the hospitality. So everyone should be well trained and know how to speak and know how to present themselves as Tobagonians. So when you come to Tobago, you will be left with a brand of Tobago, and that is Tobago culture, Tobago love, and Tobago way of life, and our heritage, most quite clearly. And that is some of our major things that we're doing. And also from micro to small to large, right? So we're starting to grow that because there is no proper structure. So once we, the PDP, have that structure, so that you, within the first 2 years, you will then see the growth and development, because we even have a hospitality school that is underused, right? So we're going to use all of that to create it. Because, for example, what is Tobago? Long time when you come to Tobago, you used to think Tobago is known for what? It's crab and dumpling. You don't hear anything about that anymore. So even in conducting what is called a farm to breed the crabs and them, so that entrepreneurs could go. So when you come to Tobago, you're going to get some crab and dumpling, or you're going to get pilau. You understand me? As same way as you're going to get doubles, when you come to Tobago, you must want to bite into the culture of Tobago when you sit down with your crab and dumpling. You understand? So that is part of our plan to grow and build a better Tobago. But we must be able to do it together. And to do it together, you must vote for the PDP.
All right, I want to thank you. I guess that's a good point for us to end things this morning with you, Mr. Douglas. Certainly, thank you for being on and for sharing your perspective, especially where Sandals is concerned. And we are all in Tobago looking forward to what happens after April 28th as this discussion continues. All right, viewers, so we got to go for a break, but we're not done yet. We've got a lot more coming up for you on the program, so catch us on the other side.
Let's go. It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawn and I step up.
Welcome to the Buku Seafood and Jazz Festival on April 19th, 2025. We invite you to an evening of smooth rhythms and soulful music as the sun dips behind Buku Bay. Let all your senses be tantalized. Enjoy an array of seafood dishes, browse crafts and designs created by local artisans, and lose yourself in the soulful melodies of John Sakata, Brian McKnight,
Undeniable that we should be together.
Vonnet Bigford,
When the lightning crack the waters and the waves roll and break.
Mikal Tasia,
Where else I go, without you, my
and the best of Tobago's talent. Get your physical tickets now. Tickets are also available online at islandetickets.com. Visit TobagoFestivalsCommission.com for more info or call 639-4441. The Buku Seafood and Jazz Festival, April 19th at Buku Integrated Facility. Tobago Rhythm and Soul Festival 2025. Feel the beat. Embrace the calm.
The following is a paid political advertisement.
Member of Parliament for Tobago West, Mr. Winston Murray, used to come when the daytime come and raise a flag in Plymouth to symbolize Tobago's independence. People said Winston Murray was mad. People say that those who were with them didn't know what they were doing. But what I saw were people who were so confident in the castles of their skin as Tobagonians that they were willing to say, we will stand up for Tobago. We will stand for a Tobago that is much more autonomous, because the only way Tobago will see a brighter day is when we have an autonomous Tobago.
On April 28th, vote TPP.
That was a paid political advertisement.
When the game is on, you don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 gigabyte fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, of course, we are in the midst of this very competitive political campaign here in Tobago. We have quite a lot of people going up in the east, quite a lot of people going up in the west. But this morning, I am speaking to one of those candidates for the Tobago East seat, and that is none other than this Mr. Gerard Balpo of the Innovative Democratic Alliance, the IDA. So good morning and welcome to you, Mr. Balpo. How are you doing?
Good morning, and good morning to the viewers and listeners.
Great.
Yes, I'm fine.
Great, great. All right, so now this is your first time putting yourself forward to be a candidate in any elections.
Yes.
Now, we know you as the man playing pan at literally any event around in Tobago, very, very talented, especially in the culture space, soca, all of that as well. But you're deciding to step forward. So tell us why.
Well, for years I've been in this space. I've always been around politics from early 2000s. So I've been able to see firsthand and talk to secretaries, past chief secretaries, you know, and one thing I realized that no matter who go into power, we the people on the ground still feel the same way, you know, and I started to go more into research to understand, I mean, what are the fundamentals that our government need to attack so that we could see the effective change, you know, and when I did my research, I realized that none of the parties are really trying to deal with these issues. So we just have this regurgitating feeling. So dealing with the communities, I've seen a lot of potential within communities, and I just decided to be the voice because unfortunately, there are very few persons on the island that stand up for the right thing, you know. So I decided to be the change that I want to see, and also be an example to the youths to show them that there's a different way other than the big carrying that we've seen. You know, if you do your research, you will see that there are ways and means that we can get to where we all want to meet, which is seeing a more productive Tobago economy.
Great. So, I mean, you also chose to step forward with the IDA. Why is that? What about the IDA made you want to jump on that team?
Yes, that's a burning question. But for over a period, you could say about 18 months, the IDA has provided a platform free to anybody, which was open for, you could be from top, you could be from any party. In these seminars, you had the privilege of speaking to people like Dr. Vanetta James, Botowari, and others who could provide data, you know, and also urge you or encourage you to do your own research, point you in the right directions to get the information. So just the fact that that was open for anybody, it doesn't matter what political party, and it was free, you know, and going forward, they also sent me to public speaking classes, which was also free, you know, and looking at all the other parties, we have a lot of blind loyalists who people chant slogans, but they don't really know the real issues, you know, and I guess that is one of the biggest problems that we have. So the IDA has provided that platform for me to learn and educate myself so I can, when I come out, I could speak freely, you know, but with the knowledge of what we need to go forward to build the economy of Tobago.
Now, one of the things that you're very passionate about is youths. So tell me, how do you think that you are going to use your position as the Member of Parliament for Tobago East to help develop our young people?
Well, the position Tobago in right now is good and bad. We are totally underdeveloped, very much underdeveloped, which also the good side of that means that we have room for development. One thing I noticed in Tobago is that we are very short on degree programs, programs that can educate and certify our Tobagonian people. So I would like to bring these programs more accessible, because it's very hard for our parents to take loan to send us to further our studies outside of Tobago, you know, when we have such landmass that we can utilize to bring schools, you know. We are a place that boasts of culture. We do have a cultural school that we could invite people from the region to come and study our indigenous culture. Also, we have to find a way where we can work as, we can work hand in hand with Trinidad, right? So Tobago could fulfill its national purpose. So being in the cultural field, in Tobago currently right now, we do have no pan tuners. You know, that's a perfect opportunity. You know, we could actually invest into pan making, pancake making, so that we can work hand in hand with Trinidad. We can teach tutors, because we don't have any on the whole island, but yet we are the #1 in the country for steel pan. So there are many other things that we could venture into. A lot of our villages are set up in a way that we can have tourism within villages.
But how does being an MP, now how do you envision your position as an MP being able to bring about that change?
So this is why we at the IDA, including myself, are championing the community rights bill. With that now, you can empower the community to choose suitable projects that is beneficial to the community. What we see in the past is past administrations just build buildings, like for instance up in Charlottesville. But when you ask the villagers, is this working for you? They will tell you no. So, I mean, the community rights bill will ensure that the community is empowered and the local talents or the skills that is within the communities are hired to see about their own affairs and their own growth and development. So whatever projects or programs that can be implemented within the villages, the village will come together and make sure that this is happening. But we cannot have that done without the community rights bill.
So is this bill going to be just for communities in Tobago, or would it be a
national?
No,
it's a national, because what we actually have a national crisis going on. You know, Trinidad and Tobago, we need a higher output. We need to find ways and means that we can actually be a competitor on the global market. You know, so the changes is not just for Tobago. I think we need national reforms to ensure that we are prepared for the future. The world is evolving, and so should we.
Now, and it's really nice to hear you speaking legislatively, because I mean, it is one of the responsibilities as an MP.
Yes.
What are the other legislative changes that you hope to bring about in Parliament?
Well,
should it be there?
There are many. The Foreign Investment Act, where we could have we have many persons living on the outside because we grew up in a place that keep telling us, you need to go out to make it. But okay, when we go out, we can't stay out there. So we like to invite our foreign investors, like for instance, somebody from Mason or who lives abroad, who probably investing abroad. They should be able to come back home and invest within their communities, creating jobs and opportunities for persons within their communities. Also, freedom of expression, to have it amended, because we have a huge problem now that if you wear a political jersey or show political affiliation, you can be victimized. And until that is an offense that could be charged in the court of law, then we will never see equality, or people wouldn't be able to freely express themselves if persons are using your job as a weapon. So these are things that I would like to champion going forward as a voice for Tobago.
Now, when it comes to that whole issue of autonomy, which continues to be a major topic here in Tobago for anybody seeking office and so on, what is your position?
I like the idea, but with everything you have to do careful planning. And if it is that in 2025 Tobago barely generates a revenue to sustain itself, then I don't think it's wise for Tobago to tell mommy, I'm leaving home. Because you can't leave home to say, well, you're going to rent without a job, without an income. So it is where the THA is involved. I think that the THA should spend time on setting up the economy in a way that it works for itself before you want to separate from mommy. So in the meanwhile, we work together hand in hand, fulfill our national purpose to Trinidad. So we could send back, we could be exchanging goods and products, on a more meaningful scale. And when we are at a point where we can stand on ourselves and earn revenue based on what is already set up, then we can go forward into self-determination.
And then, of course, when it comes to that relationship that there has to be between you as a Tobago East MP and the THA, how do you see that working? How do you plan to go about making sure that there is a relationship there and so on?
Well, everybody know me. I am not a biased person. I really just stand for three things: growth, development, and productivity. That's my whole life. And I don't really have party affiliation. I have no enemies because, as I said, I stand for growth, development, and productivity. I intend to use the seat similar to what ANR did, which is unbiased. I don't intend to take up any cabinet position. Rather, be in the parliament to champion the cause to bring ease and sustainable development to Tobagonians.
And as you mentioned that, because there is one philosophy out there that there cannot be difference in Tobago unless there is someone that sits in the cabinet. And then there's the other that, you need to be independent. How do you view those philosophies, and how are you planning to deal with that argument out there when you encounter it?
We have tried it many times. We have tried it many times. We have had people in the cabinet. Do we see any growth? Do we see any change? I think when you are in these kind of positions, it's time to put away childish things. What we see is a lot of big people acting like children, and because of party affiliation and allegiance, they don't seem to want to communicate for the greater good. I have intentions to communicate with anybody once they have the same intention as me, which is to see Trinidad and Tobago move to the place that it should be. So it's unbiased representation. I could speak to anyone at any time, and I'm willing to communicate and collaborate.
Now, you've been announced as a candidate for a couple of weeks now, and I know you've been on the ground and going through the communities. What has that taught you? How has that changed anything about your perspective, about the people of Tobago East, about some of the issues that they face? Tell me a little bit more about what you're learning so far.
Well, I am somebody who always on the ground. From since small. It's not I've always been going into communities and talking to different persons. But one of the things, and it might be negative, but one of the things on them I have realized is because of the political season and the political practices, a lot of persons use this season as a time to get. It come like Christmas. So it's a gimme season. So some persons, that's the intention. Some communities I go in, some people might, so where you going? we're sponsoring me. Now, this mentality is one form of old, right? I just want to let people know that this mentality is why we are in this position for today. What is being done now could have been done for your whole tenure. If it is that you could find money to sponsor a campaign, but within 5 years you could not have found money to sponsor a football team or to sponsor an innovative program or something that could bring sustainability that somebody don't need to come back to you to beg, then we are failing, right? Other than that, there are many undecided voters. Many undecided voters. I believe more on the undecided part than the persons who vote in. And that just shows to us how disgruntled persons are, right? So this is a perfect opportunity for me to, bring a new form of representation, apart from what we've seen traditionally. So, yeah, these are the things that I notice.
And, as you're going forward, with the IDA, it's one of the smaller parties. How do you view the challenge of trying to, compete against people like the PNM, the TPP, and the PDP, who appears to have a bit more support?
All right. So this is the next thing. We go back now to the freedom of expression. A lot of persons might be out there say that they're supporting. Then there are persons who supporting us, but cannot openly come and do it. But the idea is to get the message out. Obviously, we would not be as projected as these major parties because these parties are, from a whole, they are actually in power at this current moment, right? But our strategy is to ensure that we get the message out by any means necessary, technology being one of our main focus, apart from community engagement. I don't see it as a negative. It's something that we can't stop because this is the traditional way of politics. Who have more corn, call more foul. But the fact that we have a lot of undecided persons, our mission is to get into communities and spread the message of our true intention. A lot of persons don't have the knowledge as to what is required for things to go forward, for us to feel a change. So our responsibility is to get into these communities and spread the message of how we can get effective change, so.
All right, great. I want to thank you so much, Mr. Balpo, for being on with us and for sharing just some of your heart and some of your, goals and aspirations for being an MP. And of course, we wish you the best of luck in this campaign. And we hope to hear from you a bit more as the campaign unfolds and we're on the road to April 28th.
Yes, no problem. Thank you very much for having me.
Certainly. All right, viewers, well, we got to go for a break, but we're not done yet. We're going to hear from the IDA's candidate for the Tobago West seat, none other than Trotman, when we come back, so you don't want to go anywhere. The energy filled the sky.
Guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago, so it's goat racing time. This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's Week in Review right here on 116.
The following is a paid political advertisement.
walk towards achieving greater autonomy, that is a number one issue for me. Let us establish the boundaries. If you have two sons and you call them and said, look, this piece of real estate is for you all, you would not have to prompt them into getting a surveyor to establish boundaries. Once you establish boundaries, it means that you have created an environment where both persons would value each other equally. If you create, you manufacture, you innovate, it means that you'll be doing a whole lot of things for yourself. And therefore, you can determine the rate of your wealth, the rate of your success, the rate of your development.
On April 28th, vote TPP.
That was a paid political advertisement.
It's the premier red carpet extravaganza. Tobago Fashion Coda is back with a bang, bringing with it quintessential style where runway meets rhythm. Come see the icons of Caribbean couture, showcasing the trailblazing fashions of Trinidad and Tobago. Tobago Fashion Coda 7 promises an unforgettable experience on the 18th of April 2025 at Magdalena Grand Beach and Golf Resort, a premium all-inclusive fashion soiree where runway meets rhythm.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, we are continuing our conversations this morning with some candidates for the upcoming April 28th general elections. And we are chatting now with the Tobago West candidate for the Innovative Democratic Alliance, and that's none other than Ms. Kay Trotman. So good morning and welcome to you, Ms. Trotman. How are you doing?
I am doing quite fine. Good morning, Candace, and good morning to the rest of Tobago viewing wherever you're viewing from.
Now, you've been around in this space for quite a while as one of the tourism stakeholders, especially where the bed and breakfast and guest houses are concerned, leading those organizations and so on. But now you're stepping out more in the political space. You've chosen to be a candidate or to put yourself forward to be a candidate for the Tobago West seat. Tell us why.
I believe a new opportunity has presented itself to us in the country, not just Tobago, but Trinidad and Tobago. And that at this point in time, we need all those who find themselves in leadership position to really see how they can consciously and deliberately contribute to the development and the progress of Tobago, bringing all the skills and leadership technicalities into the fray. And because I've been with the smaller properties and I have seen some of the headaches that we have had to at least grow that sector, it was an ideal opportunity to step forward even further. I know this is not my first time in the political fray.
No, it's
I
not.
was there at the last THA election, and I stuck with it because I believe that we could do something, and it's not enough to just talk about what's wrong, but when we find things that are wrong, we need to step forward and actually be the change we need to see.
So now you are planning to take this fight to the Parliament.
Yes.
How do you see your position in Parliament being influential, let's say starting with tourism, and especially, as you mentioned, the smaller places, the smaller accommodation, the guest houses, the bed and breakfast. How do you see your role as an MP impacting the way those places are able to operate here in Tobago?
Well, let me pull it back from just being specific to the smaller properties and to looking at a wider scale. The role of an MP, and especially I would like to put some criteria on that. The role of an MP, especially an MP that is not aligned to a national party in Trinidad, presents Tobago with a significant leveraging power. A leveraging power that Tobago's issues can truly be articulated in Parliament without any guardrails, so to speak, that limits what can be said. So that my position as an MP with the IDA is to provide an opportunity for Tobago's voice to be truly heard and its issues to be discussed without it being tailored to a party agenda. And that, I believe, is a leveraging power because it allows Tobago to have a say in where the laws that are being made, that it takes into consideration Tobago's unique position. So a law like the property tax would never have occurred to the extent that properties that are on the beachfront are in a higher tax rate, bearing in mind that Tobago has a lot of fishing villages with properties that are on the beachfront that are not necessarily luxury resort properties, but are properties for the average Tobagonian. And why should they be disadvantaged because we happen to be in a small fishing village? Beachfront properties therefore needs to be redefined from a Tobago perspective. We didn't hear that discussion coming out from our existing MPs. It would allow us to also have a say in how the budget is shaped. So I know we have been clamoring for years, 4.03 is not enough. And it's usually rubber stamped by the two MPs that are there because they do not go against the party's direction there. But when you do have two independent thinking, unbiased, unaffiliated Tobago candidates, then they can now truly articulate a proper percentage or proper formulation for what Tobago's budget should be until we get further DRC type changes. And that means the two seats will definitely be critical to any laws, any budget allocations going forward, and even to unbiased oversight of the cabinet in its function. So people should not wonder what we are bringing to the table. We are bringing leverage and power for Tobago.
Are you at all worried? Because there's some people that are criticizing most of the parties that are contesting here in Tobago, saying that those two seats, it's not enough when it's compared to the 39 seats in Trinidad to make a difference. How would you refute this argument?
They don't understand the power of leveraging. They don't understand the power of strategic positioning. The thing is, you need 21 votes to be able to pass a law by simple majority. The way things are going, it's a very closely divided political fray in Trinidad. 39 seats, 19, 18, thereabout, if my maths is correct. 2018, you need 21. The two Tobago seats come there. So nothing is going to be easily rubber stamped by a government without taking into consideration the two seats. And that is why, even with this administration, the two seats for central government were so critical. But if those two seats are not guaranteed, that gives the silent consent of Tobago automatically to the central government. But having seats that will truly call to heal the government in terms of Tobago's position, then those two seats are significant. It was the same two seats that Winston Murray and Dr. Robinson used to get the first Tobago House of Assembly Act. So if people understand the history, they would understand the power of these two Tobago seats to leverage and strategically have Tobago's issues discussed.
Now, I want to just start with some of the other issues that are very big in the space right now. And one of them has to do with sandals. Earlier this week, the IDA sent out a press release and saying that, Tobago, should not be treated as a child. And especially where the discussion of sandals and even some of the other promises that were made, particularly by Prime Minister Stuart Young, as to some of the deliverables that they are hoping to bring to Tobago in the next administration. So tell us a little bit about it, especially when it comes to dealing with sandals. What is the IDA's position? Explain not treating Tobago as a child a bit more.
We're at a stage where, if we look at the geopolitical landscape, our very survival as a nation, Trinidad and Tobago, is at the mercy of global powers like the US. And the degree of aggression they are exercising over small islands like ourselves, we cannot afford to at least stand up as an island and a nation, a unified nation, without truly looking at all the elements that we bring to the table as a nation and ensuring that we are strategically positioned to deal with it. That means Tobago cannot be seen or continue to be seen as a dependency to Trinidad. We must have a realignment and reorganizing of that relationship that is Trinidad and Tobago in the Union. Tobago can bring significant benefits to the Union, and it is time that both the political arrangement, the governance arrangement, and the economic arrangement is done so that that can happen. And that's why we're championing a new Tobago bill, one that includes the community rights bill that gives communities the right to develop their spaces, includes the Tobago population. No longer is it sufficient for politicians to say to the population, y'all take it easy, we gonna do the work. That perpetuates the dependency that a lot of people have been complaining about. It is time, we always like to use the phrase, all hands on deck. How is that going to be possible if we don't set up the framework to do that? So then the whole sandals issue is not about sandals per se. That is just a warning signal to us that if we are to develop Tobago, we have to look at more than just the type of tourism that we have been practicing all the time. The sea, sun, and sand tourism doesn't cut it. And we see that in the Caribbean. Jamaica, who we like to say has so many visitors coming to it, over 2.5 million, yet Jamaica only has a GDP per capita of 5,000, I think, $300 US.
Now, there was also a statement made by the IDA when it comes to it's time to break free from that oil and gas dependency and so on. How do you view using your positions as MPs to make a difference in the way Tobago can position itself to help the country move away from that oil and gas dependency?
Diversification, diversification, diversification. We have been hearing that word for years, for decades, but yet there has been no move towards that because we have drunken ourselves on the oil and gas possibilities. We have so ingrained ourselves that we fail to realize that in 2025, we can no longer follow the pattern of extracting more oil and gas, exporting more oil and gas, and hoping for price increases. So we come into a windfall. We must deliberately, while we have oil and gas, yes, we take advantage of it, but during these times, we should also look at the other elements that Trinidad and Tobago has as assets that we can utilize. And from Tobago's point of view, tourism can provide that. But we need to look at the type of tourism we need to pursue.
And what type of tourism?
And that is the tourism that allows for longer stay in the island and that also takes advantage of what we like to call the production of capital services using the tourism platform. For example, the Bahamas, Bermuda, Cayman Islands, they use their tourism platform to provide and export capital services like medical tourism, healthcare, education, financial services. St. Kitts and Nevis, who are smaller than Tobago, they have been able to create development within their islands by using the tourism platform, yes, but by focusing on developing things like healthcare, education, long stay housing, so much so that their per capita GDP is, I think, $21,000 US per person. No oil and gas. So the first thing that Tobago has to do is decide what type of tourism would allow us to fully take advantage of all our assets that we have.
And then, okay, as you're speaking about that, there is messaging coming in from the THA as to how they want to shape the development of Tobago. And this is also in terms of making sure the THA in its current format can realize some of its powers in terms of town and country and that sort of thing that was taken away from Tobago and put in Trinidad. And of course, these things are needed so that things like what you're talking about in terms of tourism developments can happen. How do you intend to use your position as an MP to be able to at least help the THA in realizing these things and gaining back some of that power? Or do you disagree with that notion? Just give us a perspective where that's concerned.
Well, really, these two seats that are MP seats needs to work with our THA. Definitely needs to work with our THA. And the kind of synergy that needs to exist is to ensure that the THA really does have the protection and the access to the resources it needs to be able to execute those items that are under the 5th schedule. So it is not the role of MPs, and I will not, myself and my colleague, will not pursue roles that are competing with the THA. It's a relationship where we ensure from the national level what can be done to ensure the THA gets the protection, the lawmaking that is necessary for it to do its job in terms of under the 5th schedule. But it also creates the avenue for us to work, finally, the MP and the THA working together where that autonomy bill is concerned. And that a new autonomy bill needs to be put on the table. One that is led by the THA, yes, but one that has the MPs working with it so that we can go back to the Tobago population. I know people, this is a kind of sore topic for people. It has been done for so long, why we don't press ahead with it. But as I said, if we look at the geopolitical environment, it has changed so much that that bill that was debated, that was rejected, is flawed in its makeup because it didn't give power to the communities, especially in this day and age. So that we will work with the THA to champion a new Tobago bill, one that has ingrained in it the community rights bill that gives authority to communities to develop their spaces, and at the same time, hoping to get that before the Parliament in an 18-month period for them to deliberate on. If they choose to ignore us then between the THA, we will work with the THA to mobilize politically as well as legally to get that addressed. So it's now not a piecemeal situation, and especially a situation that is divided because your MPs are attached to central government. It will now be a very focused Tobago first agenda where that is concerned.
And when other things are, when you're looking at some other things that are facing the Tobago space, the Land License Act, whether it is to allow for foreign direct investment, has been a bugbearer. I mean, it's something that since 2011, since 2012, the business community has been sort of advocating for. And I know you've been part of some of that advocation. Would you be, as an MP, would this be one of the things on your agenda?
It would be one of the things on the agenda because it's one of the things on the THA's agenda in response to the business community. But it also has to be pursued, not just with the efforts of the business community and where they stand, but also with the rest of the Tobago population. Right. So that is why the Community Bill of Rights is so important, because the average citizen on the ground needs to be brought into the fray too, because that land license also affected them. So it's not just the business community. So that in this case, that will be pursued, yes, but the entire Tobago population, not just the business community, that's across the board. And I think that is what we have been missing, because we always have certain factions from within the space pursuing an effort, and the efforts they pursue may be to their benefit, but not necessarily to other sections within the Tobago space's benefit.
Now, another thing that sort of kind of fell by the wayside these past few years, especially with the development of the autonomy bill, going to Parliament and COVID and all these things, and that is the settling the land deed situation here in Tobago. Now, we know that continues decades, it spans generations, and we have not gotten that sorted yet. What is the IDA's position where that is concerned? How do you plan to approach it? What's the strategy in bringing some relief to so many Tobago families that continue to struggle with this matter?
Well, that is part of a bigger issue that would involve the THA as well. And therefore, the 2 Tobago seats is not the only leverage that can be used there. You would also need, and I dare want to be very forward, an IDA-led THA. And that working together, yes, I would not miss that opportunity. And that working together, you have put in forth a Tobago Housing Trust that provides elements that would deal with not just providing housing, but addressing the land tenure issues in ways that can bring relief to that. You would have a portion that is dealt with how do you bring resolution to those long-standing family disputes, that you can now have that asset to be monetized into building houses for the family members or across the board Tobagonians that find themselves without housing. So that is a bigger issue that would require not just the MPs on one hand dealing with lawmaking that may address that and policies that may address that, but also the THA in terms of the implementation and actual projects that can realize it down at the lower level. But that can be addressed through a housing trust initiative.
All right. Now, I mean, we've had a lot to get through, and we're going to have you back, of course, as we get closer to April 28th to get more into some of these details that are so important, because as we get closer to the election date, we also have to make sure that the public understands the role of an MP and how it differs from the role of a THA representative and so on, and make sure that the issues that we are discussing are related to the correct form of government.
Precisely. Right? So if I could synopsize that, the role of an MP and my colleague and myself would be towards shaping laws, making national laws, and bearing in mind how those laws impact on Tobago. It would be towards helping to shape the budget, ensuring that Tobago gets its rightful amount, rightful fair share of equity in that. And it's also towards unbiased oversight, bringing accountability, holding the central government and the cabinet especially accountable for its actions.
All right, good one. Thank you so much, Ms. Trotman, for being on with you, viewers. This is your candidate, the IDA candidate for the Tobago West seat. You heard from her yourself, so you can, make your own decision as to what you are going to choose on April 28th. And of course, you know that Tobago Updates is going to be going very deep into every single candidate that has put themselves forward. We didn't get started. We didn't even talk about the fact that there's 9 people contesting Tobago West seat. But as you heard, Ms. Trotman, she knows what she's doing. And so I want to thank you again. And viewers, thank you for viewing. And we will see you again tomorrow.